Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Sadia Yakubu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times channels 276. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to constitutional reforms that will strengthen Nigeria's democracy, promote justice, and guarantee the rights of citizens. He was speaking at the National Public Hearing on the review of the 1999 Constitution held in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Nete Patrick reports.
President Tinubu, represented by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, described the exercise as a golden opportunity to advance governance and nation building. The President commended the House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review for engaging citizens, political parties, civil society, and traditional institutions in the amendment process.
The ongoing process of each amendment provides us with yet another golden opportunity to strengthen our institutions, deepen federalism, guarantee fundamental rights, and promote justice, equity, and accountability across all spheres of national life.
Also addressing the hearing, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, said the review marks a defining moment in Nigeria's democratic journey, pledging that lawmakers will not delay passage of the proposed amendments.
The reserved seats for women proposal will create additional seats in the National Assembly and state assemblies to ensure that every state and senatorial district has women's voice in lawmaking. This is not tokenism, but a constitutional mechanism to accelerate gender inclusion.
Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, who chairs the review committee, disclosed that 87 amendment bills are on the table, ranging from electoral reforms and state policing to local government autonomy and gender inclusion. If ratified by at least 24 state assemblies, the reforms would represent the most sweeping constitutional overhaul since 1999.
Today, let us honor that noble tradition. Let us rise above the narrow confines of ethnicity, narrow confines of religion, narrow confines of region and language, and embrace our shared destiny as Nigerians. Let us together craft a constitution that will be a legacy of unity, a constitution that will be a legacy of justice, a constitution that will be a legacy of progress for generations yet unborn.
Also, traditional rulers who renewed their agitations for a constitutional rule clarified that the motive is not to hijack the functions of elected leaders, but to serve as a bridge between the government and the governed. Representatives of women groups also reiterated their demand for increased representation in the parliament and executive councils across the tiers.
The level of governance and the people who are governed, no link. Policies are being prepared, programs are being prepared, but implementation of these programs and policies cannot go down because no link. So we are now urging the authorities, especially this committee, to ensure that this gap is being bridged.
The National Assembly says final harmonized version of the amendments will be published before voting begins, with leaders urging citizens to stay engaged in shaping Nigeria's democratic future. Nete Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
After months of political tension in Rivers State, Governor Fubara says he has finally reconciled with his predecessor, Nyesom Wike. The peace move follows a private meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa. Ramsey Enoch has details.
Governor Fubara, who resumed duty this week after his 6-month suspension was lifted, told State House correspondents that the discussion with the president were like that of a father and a son. He said he briefed President Tinubu on developments in Rivers and received advice to avert future crises. The reconciliation comes just days after President Tinubu ended the state of emergency in Rivers and restored democratic structure.
It's not much, it's father-son discussion. telling him thank you, and the areas where, if at all, there should be any issue, for him to guide me properly, so we don't be in any situation that will bring crisis again. That's what he said to me.
Nigerians want to know.
He advised me on what to do and how to go in the right place. So long as I'm concerned, we have made peace. My Fubara and his principal are working together.
For now, Rivers State appears to be moving past months of a political uncertainty, with hopes for lasting stability. Meanwhile, the president also had separate consultations with other key officials, including the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and the Minister of Finance. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting for Global TV News.
The senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpotey-Obuduang, has regained access to her office at the National Assembly after months of suspension. The Kogi Central lawmaker walked back into the Senate amid cheers from supporters, waving banners and chanting songs of solidarity. These came shortly after Senate authorities reopened her previously sealed office. Topsy Gimba completes the story.
Kogi Central lawmaker Natasha Akpotey-Obuduang was suspended in March following a heated clash with Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who accused her of unparliamentary conduct. Speaking to reporters after reclaiming her seat, the senator declared she has no apology to render. She described her return as a triumph for democracy principles and stood firm on her conduct during the incident that led to her suspension.
Sometimes it's good to put the institutions to test. We can't cow down in the face of injustice. No one is more Nigerian than us. Senator Akpabio is not more of a senator than I am. He's not a governor of this place. And he treated me as if I was his servant, or I was a domestic staff in his house. It's very unfortunate that at this time, after so many years of democracy, we would have a National Assembly be run by such dictatorship. It's totally unacceptable. As for me, I'm glad to be here. And even though we have been illegally suspended, no day have I hesitated in effectively carrying out my duties as a senator of Kogi Central to the very best of my capacity.
Natasha Akpotey-Obuduang's return marks a significant moment of reconciliation and a statement on upholding democracy within the Senate. Topsy Gimba, Global Television News.
After the flag-off of the Mabushi Road, the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike inspected ongoing projects in Abuja, which include the construction of Court of Appeal Abuja Division and 40 judges' quarters. Kabir Hassan was there for Global Television.
The inspection visit is part of the efforts by the FCTA to ensure quality and timely delivery of key projects in the FCT. The minister noted that the Court of Appeal building and judges' quarters, when completed, will strengthen the judicial system by providing a more conducive environment for justice delivery in the nation's capital, while expressing their satisfaction with the speed of the project.
Appeal that in the next legal year, we pray that that occasion will be taking place in their new division. Having got there today, I'm afraid, I'm really not too satisfied that the contractor will meet up. If you ask me, am I happy? Certainly not. But not being happy will not solve the problem.
On the side of the housing project, the minister expressed satisfaction while stating the project, as promised, would be completed by January 2026.
We are here where you have 20 units of these 5-bedroom duplexes for the FCT High Court. We have the one of the Court of Appeal, 10 units, and here we are standing. It's for the Federal High Court. We are impressed with the speed of work. The duration is for them to hand over by January 2026, complete furnishing. I believe with where they are going, they may be able to hand over before that January.
With projects like this, the FCTA says it is not just improving infrastructure, but also laying the foundation of a stronger judicial system in the federal capital. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun says Nigerian security challenges requires police leaders who can think faster, act smarter, and adapt quicker. He said this while carrying open a one-day executive workshop for top commanders of the force in Abuja. Security correspondent Kike Lomo Okere completes the story.
Criminal groups from terrorist networks are becoming more sophisticated, often using technology and cross-border alliance to expand their reach. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, urged commanders to adopt leadership that combines speed with strategy and patience with imagination. The police chief stressed that modern security threats are unpredictable and constantly evolving, requiring foresight, innovation, and stronger collaboration.
That is why this team has been carefully chosen to prepare you as leaders to anticipate, to adapt, and to act decisively in an environment where hesitation is costly and speed is survival.
The Inspector General of Police insisted that the workshop must not end as theory, but result in reform that build a more agile, intelligence-driven police force Nigerians can trust.
That is why this team has been carefully chosen to prepare you as leaders to anticipate, to adapt, and to act decisively in an environment where hesitation is costly and speed is survival.
The president of the Society for Peace, Study and Practice pledged support for police reform and called the initiative a major step towards repositioning the force as catalyst for peace and justice.
And today, we are privileged to engage with the top executive of the Nigerian Police Force. Furthermore, during this period, approximately 100 officers have joined SPLC. And the highest and the level of leadership of the Nigerian police that are engaging civil society and those that have expertise and intervention experiences to help you do your job.
The event drew senior police officers, security experts, and peace practitioners, marking what stakeholders describe as a critical moment for leadership transformation in Nigerian police force. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has warned senior officers of force against misuse of authority, particularly in land disputes. The police chief made the call at a strategic meeting with Commissioner of Police and Zonal Commander of the force in Abuja. He noted that the force will not serve private interests and warned that officers who cross the line will face strict sanctions. Again, Kike Lomo Okere has details.
Disputes remain one of the most common sources of communal tension across the country, often leading to clashes, destruction of properties, and even loss of lives. Against this backdrop, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, cautioned senior officers to stay clear of personal involvement in land disputes. The police chief emphasized that officers must remain impartial, uphold the rule of law, and avoid actions that could compromise public trust in the force. He warns that any officers found meddling in private land matters for personal gain will face disciplinary action.
One area that continues to cast a shadow over our institution is the misuse of police authority in civil disputes, particularly in matters relating to land. Let me reiterate without ambiguity. The Nigerian Police Force is not and will never become an enforcer for private interests. Officers have no business escorting parties for land recovery, disrupting legally existing occupations, or meddling in civil claims without a demonstrable criminal element. The line must be clear, and any officer who crosses it will face disciplinary consequences.
The police chief further directed commissioners and zonal commanders to intensify security operations in the last quarter of the year, a period often marked by spikes in robbery, kidnapping, and banditry. He emphasized that leadership by example remains key, insisting that what commanders tolerate will shape the culture of the force.
As we approach the final quarter of the year, there is no room for complacency. The so-called Ember Months have historically seen spikes in robbery, kidnapping, ritual killings, and highway banditry. I am mandating the following. Zonal AIGs must activate multi-layered feasibility policing frameworks.
Reviewing the police operations since July, the police chief reveals that the force arrested more than 4,300 suspects across the country, including kidnappers, armed robbers, cultists, and illegal arms carriers. Over 1,100 kidnapped victims were rescued, while more than 700 firearms and 21,000 rounds of ammunition were recovered. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
Benue State government has reported 243 suspected cases of Lassa fever since January 2025, with 13 deaths recorded. State epidemiologist Dr. Asemam Sunga, who gave the update, said 18 of the cases were confirmed through laboratory tests. Of the deaths, 5 were confirmed, while 8 were classified as probable. You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, Galatasaray coach confirms Osimhen's return dates. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.